Hi, everyone, and welcome to Fitness Knocking, formerly known as Fitness Coaching with Lois. Our episode today is talking about feeding hunger, not emotions. So today is part one of a two-part series that we're going to help get you to ultimately feel better, get to your perfect weight, and not only get there, but stay there. I'm Lois, the owner of Fitness Knocking, where we're an in-home personal training service coming to you directly at your house in your backyard, or even online. So definitely reach out to me if you have any questions about that. We're also going to be meeting next Thursday, again with Kathy, on July 16th at 1 o'clock. So definitely check out that one. Mark your calendar. There's going to be tons of great information today. So if you can stick through the whole thing, if you can't watch the whole thing now, just like it, comment it, and then come back and watch the rest of it later. Tell us your comments. Let us know what you're thinking. And of course, like and share. Help us out, okay? Today, Kathy Degati, I think I'm saying your last name right. You have an apostrophe in there, but we've been knowing each other for, I got it? Okay. She's a certified nutrition and lifestyle coach, and she's also a gluten-free practitioner. So those of you out there that have celiac problems, please definitely reach out to her for that. And Kathy she founded her company Back to Basic Wellness back in 2007. So she's been doing this for quite a while, and she helps people not only nourish themselves, but helps people use food as medicine. So it's really important that she helps people identify the obstacles that are derailing them on a day-to-day basis. And then, of course, finding innovative ways to help them move forward to achieve and maintain that healthy and slender body that everybody's so looking to have, especially during these times. So Kathy, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm feeling great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Are you going anywhere this summer? Are you staycationing like me?
No, I've been here forever. No, I'm very blessed. I have a sister who owns a home in the Outer Banks, and my other sister and I go down every year. So I'm leaving shortly, and I can't wait.
That's awesome. You're leaving you're leaving next week, right? The end of next week?
I am.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm a little jealous, I have to say, but hopefully things will get back to a new sense of normal, and maybe we can go away on vacation next year. So, I'm feeling like feeding hunger, not emotions, is something that everybody needs to hear about. With COVID-19, it's had a negative effect on people's weight. It affects their mental well-being. And then, of course, it affects how they're feeling about themselves. So this two-part series today and then next week is about changing our relationship with food. And then, of course, next week, we're talking about the immune system and how the microbiome affects that. And if you don't know what the microbiome is, you should come and watch, because you'll get a ton of information from Kathy. We all tell ourselves stories about food for pleasure, food to help with our emotions, or is it just food for real life? If we were to think of food as simple as fueling a car, you would never fill it past full. But people tend to do that all the time. So what we're going to be talking about today is trying to define what that is, and then, of course, figuring out why we're overeating or undereating or eating unwisely. So changing this relationship with food does take time. So this is just kind of the beginning, the opening conversation for this. So please, by all means, ask the questions that you have today. And if you want, definitely chime in, or if you don't want to let the whole world know what your questions are, reach out to me via email. I'll put my email in one more time. And then you can reach out to me via email, and then I'll come on another time, maybe with Kathy next week, and we can answer those questions as well if you don't feel comfortable chiming in here. Yeah. So treats and comfort food are a challenge for most of us, me included. My kids, we love to have cookies sometimes and ice cream sometimes, and oftentimes I make them myself, I will say that, but I know it's a challenge for other people. So Kathy, why does approaching a plan, and I put quotes around a plan because I don't like to call them diets. We talk about this a lot. A diet is what you consume, right? So if you're going on a plan or a program to lose weight and it doesn't work, in the long term. Why is that happening? Why is that happening?
Most of the time, the issue will come from people doing what works for somebody else and not listening to their own body. There really is only one expert when it comes to what's right for you, and that's yourself. You know, you are born with everything that you need in order to make the right choices when you come to really understand yourself and how your body works. And most of the time, people are trying to follow something that worked well for their neighbor, and their bodies are quite different. And instead of paying attention to that, they just white knuckle their way through and they're miserable until they pop a cork and then they go back to eating the way they were before.
Yeah, that whole like I'll start Monday type of thing where they start and it's this I'm going to eliminate every possible thing that makes them feel good in some way, shape, or form. And then it works in the short term, but the long term, it doesn't really always necessarily work for the long term. So why are so many people obsessed with weight loss instead of an actual lifestyle shift? You know, the whole changing up food, we talk about that. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are. So why are so many people obsessed with weight loss instead of the lifestyle shift?
A lot of people are looking for quick results, which I understand. You know, it's tough with weight because you're walking around with like a billboard, you know, everybody can see, and people tend to have a lot of shame around that. But one of the things I like to question is when people say that the diet worked. You know, any fool can teach you how to lose 5 pounds. It's not hard. You know, you could go on a ice cream diet for a whole week and lose weight if that's the only thing you ate. But it's not sustainable. And so when you tell me something works, it means you're talking to me a year later and the weight's not back on again. If you just lose weight for the sake of losing weight, but you can't sustain it, there is no value to anything that you just did. You just tortured yourself only to end up back where you were before. And I think that's where people get really discouraged. You know, it's especially hard when people are watching you go up and down the scale. You know, they compliment you on your weight loss, you're feeling good, but you're just like holding on by your teeth. And then you start eating again and you put it back on, and then there's the shame. And so that cycle causes a lot of psychological problems for people, and it makes it hard for them to consider doing change at all because they're afraid they're going to fail.
Right, absolutely. I always say that the mentals, what you're thinking up here, are part of the fundamentals, and the emotional component of eating is pretty vast for most people. You know, we eat because we're tired, we eat because we're bored, we eat because someone made us feel bad or whatever. And instead of addressing the actual emotion and getting deep with it and finding out what it is, we just go to the refrigerator or the pantry.
Because it doesn't work. You know, you don't really feel any less stressed or hurt or emotional when you're done eating. In fact, you feel even worse now because you have all of those emotions on top of feeling fat, bloated, and out of control. So it really isn't a very good solution for an emotional problem. But that's 99% of the work that I do, honestly. What to eat is really not complicated. We like to make it sound as if it is measuring micronutrients and everything else that you read about, but it's really not that hard. You know, if you eat fresh whole foods, the likelihood is you're going to be okay.
That's good to know. So, in your opinion, does variety help in your diet?
It's essential. And
It's
I would say,
essential. Okay, so if you eat the same thing every day, is that a good thing or not so good?
no, that's a very not good thing. And it's what 90% of the people that I work with do. They say, oh, I'm on a healthy diet. I eat, and they list 10 foods and they go on rinse repeat. And that's the only thing that their body ever experiences. And the likelihood of you getting the nutrients, the vitamins that you need when you're keeping your selection so small isn't good. And so your health is going to suffer, but more importantly, you're going to just get so tired of it that that's when people tend to reach for other things because they just can't stand it anymore.
Yeah. So I know that you like to talk about this, and I notice it in myself as the seasons change. I go from eating and craving lots of soups and warm things in the fall and the winter to when spring comes, I feel like I am a salad-aholic, and that's all I want to eat. As far as like getting lots of vegetables in my day. Can you explain why that happens?
We're actually much more connected to the earth than we think we are. You know, our insides aren't really any different from our ancestors who lived a very long time ago. And the only way we could eat back then was to eat what was available and grown locally. And your body is very accustomed to it. And does a very good job of providing you with the perfect food for the climate and the situation that you live in. You know, even though you can buy bananas in January in the supermarket, doesn't mean you should be eating them. You know, it's good to be able to mix it up with the seasons and give your body what it craves. You'll find it infinitely more satisfying. If
Yeah.
it's hot out and you're eating a nice cold salad, it will just seem like the perfect thing, and you'll be content and satisfied. But you eat that salad when it's 3 degrees, and your body's not going to be happy. Take those same vegetables, throw them in a pot, and make a soup, and you're going to be content for hours.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree, and it's funny because even my children, they're very cognizant of like how when they're hungry and like when they're not hungry, and I've been trying to encourage that since they were babies because I always have my own things with food, but it's amazing to me how even they shift from asking for warm foods to cold foods too. So it's cool. It's very interesting. So I love that you said that like listening is so important. I feel like that's something that's a major thing that we're missing as a society when it comes to our diet and how we feed ourselves. Would you agree with that?
That's what dieting teaches people. When people go on a diet, they follow what someone else says. And even though if they get a headache or they're tired or they're anxious or their stomach is upset, they just feel that that's the punishment due them for
Yeah.
having to lose weight, as opposed to understanding that your body is your friend. And anytime you get a symptom, it's sending you a message that something needs to be fixed. If you have the willingness to listen and pay attention, you can make the adjustments so that you find something that feels good and right, and you can continue doing that. But it teaches people to shut off their um, communication with their own bodies by just following someone else's orders and not really paying attention to whether or not it's working for them.
Yeah, yeah. I think paying attention, that is the single most effective way of being able to listen is if not only listening to what your body is asking for, but also being able to dissect it and asking yourself if you think that, and we've talked about this before, but if your body is quote unquote asking you for the chocolate cake, is it really asking you for the chocolate cake or could it be asking you for something else?
I would say you would have to learn how to interpret your body's language, because your body is never asking you for a piece of cake or an Oreo or anything of that sort. That's how we translate it because that's what we've been taught.
Right.
That's how we solve our emotional problems. But it is definitely telling you that something has to be altered, and sugar cravings especially tend to come from a couple of different reasons. It could be dehydration, could be lack of sleep. Most of the time, it has a lot to do with that. What your body is telling you is, I'm exhausted. I need to lay down. I need to rest. I need to take a nap. And in this country, we don't do things like that. No, I got to keep pushing, got to keep going. And so the body's saying, well, then I need a source of energy because I'm done. I've got nothing left. And we interpret that as I need a candy bar because the sugar will give you that quick spike. But the problem is that you quickly get the crash that follows. And then after that, you're off to the races because it's just going to go on and on and on. Whereas if you were to take that time and just recognize that you are tired, you don't have to necessarily go to bed. You could simply sit down, fix a cup of tea, close your eyes for 15 minutes, call a friend, just restore yourself a little, and likely you'll find that that sugar craving goes away.
That's so, I think that's so helpful for so many people, is to address what it really is instead of just instantly going again to the pantry or the refrigerator and finding what's easiest or quickest to get. So in your opinion, what's the primary step in changing our relationship with food? Like the first thing that everybody can do, like a great takeaway.
You have to start connecting the dots between how you're feeling when you eat those foods and your thoughts about those foods. You know, changing your mind about things is the harder part.
Yeah.
And people create an idea about food somewhere around the age of 5 years old, and then they never question it again. You know, when we're little, that is the only thing we have any power over, is what we put in our mouths. And we're taught, oh, you did great, have a cookie. You're not feeling well, have some ice cream. You know, and we come to those associations, and we never question them beyond that. And when people come to me, they're feeling sick, they're feeling bloated, they have skin issues, they have all kinds of problems that stem from comfort foods. So when you list all of your symptoms, I ask you, well, tell me when you get to the comfortable part, because there's nothing that you told me that says.
I'm sorry to laugh, but it's really funny. I love that you get real with people. You know, how is that comfortable? Yeah.
I don't know where you're getting that idea from, that somehow you feel better when you eat this, when there isn't anything you said to me that suggests you're feeling better at all. And so, you know, if that isn't the answer, then you have to be willing to take the next step and find out what the answer is, because your needs are real. You know, it's not white knuckling. A lot of people think that's the secret to it. I just have to be more disciplined. I just have to work harder. I just have to be willing to never make a mistake. And that's a recipe for disaster. You know, if you're counting on your willpower, forget it. You've already lost. You have to be able to get to a place where something just feels like it's the right thing to do. And when you actually start addressing your needs appropriately, you'll be surprised that they actually can go away. And now, instead of having two problems, you have no problems.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. That's great information, and such a helpful little tip that you can start right away, right today. You can just start immediately, just saying to yourself, am I hungry for this? Or is there something else going on? And if that something else is going on, address the something else and see if the craving goes away. And if it does, awesome. And let us know. Chime in. Tell us if it worked. Kathy, this was so helpful. I'm sure you have great information. I know that you have an awesome website where you have a questionnaire. If anybody wants to check this questionnaire out, it's very detailed. And then Kathy has agreed to chat with anybody that would like to talk with her. Kathy, do you want to talk about that? And I'll put the ticker up.
Sure. A lot of people are confused about the fact that they're eating healthy already and they're not getting the results that they're looking for. And so I created this questionnaire that you can fill out. And when I get the results, I'll go over it with you so that we can kind of pinpoint maybe where you need to eat a little bit less of this or a little bit more of that, or where this food might be what is causing the problem based on some of the symptoms that you're expressing in the questionnaire. Because there are some pretty good connections with food and certain symptoms that can be very helpful for people. Even though they are healthy, they may not be right for you. So it's something I've been doing a long time. I'm pretty good at it.
Good. That's awesome. Okay, awesome. So definitely reach out to Kathy for that information and fill out her questionnaire, and let us know if you like this. Please comment, please share. And by all means, if you have questions about exercise or you know someone who's struggling right now with getting exercise in, have them reach out to me. Again, I'm Lois from Fitness Knocking, and I put my email address in the bottom, but always chime in with the questions that you have. I love answering them and doing my best, if I don't know the answer, to getting you someone that really does. So again, thank you so much for watching, and definitely tune in next week on Thursday, the 16th at 1 o'clock, and we will talk about managing your entire immune system with your microbiome. So check that out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks, Kathy, again for coming on with me today.
It was fun. Thank you.
Have a great one. Bye, everybody.